Bonjour.
Bonjour.
Bonjour tout le monde.
Bonjour.
Vous allez bien?
Marie-France, c'est vraiment, je pense, la semaine où on se voit le plus souvent dans l'histoire de nos organisations. Et Denise aussi, bonjour.
J'espère que c'est une bonne chose.
Ah oui.
OK, fantastique, parfait. On t'entend pas, Marie-France, ton micro est fermé. Tu nous parles depuis tantôt, mais on t'entend pas. Ça dit que ton micro est fermé. Peux-tu te rebrancher peut-être? Les joies des rencontres virtuelles.
Juste pour vous informer, on enregistre la présentation au cas où justement de vos collègues de Nova qui ne pouvaient pas être présents aujourd'hui, vous voudrez la réécouter par la suite.
Vous m'entendez maintenant?
Oui.
OK.
Marie-France, on va y aller. Il y a peut-être d'autres gens qui vont joindre à nous, mais tu sais, Marie-France, si tu veux peut-être, nous, on va se présenter, bien sûr, puis on va présenter les activités du Mouvement Habitat, particulièrement les Interforums qu'on a le goût de vous présenter aujourd'hui. Mais Marie-France, tu peux peut-être faire une petite minute de nous dire pourquoi tu nous as réunis aujourd'hui, puis quelles ont été les discussions qu'on a eues jusqu'à maintenant, ce serait bien.
But if it's okay, I'm going to do it in English because
Absolutely.
I think it will be better for a lot of our partners.
That's great.
So basically, we were approached by La Fondation Grace Dart Foundation. We are beneficiaries, and so is Un Fonds Mille, from which has come about the Mouvement Habitat and the Interforum. And these Interforums exist in many regions in Quebec with many different activities that have taken place. And they're looking to recruit seniors and senior actors to give a voice to our seniors in the community. So we sent many emails, Louisa and I, to different community partners, including yourselves. And Francois and Louis will tell you all about it and see if that is of any interest to you. And for those of you who are members of la table de concertation des aînés de l'Ouest de l'île, they have been invited to present to our September 18th meeting as well. So I think that's pretty much, in a nutshell, Francois, what I can give you today.
Perfect. It's absolutely fine for Luis and I to do the meeting in English. You'll see that the presentation of the Interforums has not yet been translated. It's in the process because it's an ever-evolving project of presenting it in a very succinct way, but Luis will be able to do the presentation in English, so a live translation of the content and concepts. Well, thank you so much, Marie-France, for inviting us, presenting our activities to you guys that form a community that we very much long to include in our activities that have been ongoing since 2020. So my name is François Griset. I'm the founder and now executive officer and artistic director of Un Fonds Mille. As Marie-France mentioned, we are supported by La Fondation Grace Dart Foundation and many other foundations to put forward activities around the question, how do we want to inhabit our old age? Comment voulons-nous habiter notre vieillesse? And that is portrayed and put forward through the Mouvement Habitats movement, le Mouvement Habitat. What is the Mouvement Habitat? The Habitats movement was an extension of an artistic process I've started of presenting a play that's called Tout inclus. It has now been translated in English and will be presented at the Centaur Theatre in 2026. So that process of writing the play started with an immersion of a full month for me in a residence called Les Jardins du Patrimoine in Val d'Or. And by staying 7 days out of 7, 24 hours a day with these seniors, I started recording my experiences, the conversations I had with the seniors, asking them questions about their realities and stuff. And from that material, 3 years later, I started writing a documentary theater play, as I just said. And when I started presenting that play, one of the process of porte-parole, which you might have heard of as a documentary theater company, is that we meet with the audience. And when we would present the first version of the play, at the end, people would ask me questions, but Francois, like, if we don't want to live in a seniors residence, like, are there other options? Like, would there be ways that we could imagine new possibilities, know about the existing possibilities? So long story short, what happened is that from that conversation, those conversations with the audience, I had the idea of creating first a forum that was called the Forum Habitat, and then became the Habitats movement. So what is the Habitats movement? First, it's a cohesive and integrating of three main goals. Sensibilisation. So we want to help people talk, discuss, be confronted with the new realities of aging. We also want to include an aspect of having seniors being integrated and participating in the creation of solutions, which are the Interforums du Mouvement HABITATs. And there's a great walk that we're putting forward, which is an action and an action de sensibilisation, where we invite people on October 1st of every year. This year will be the fourth presentation of the walk Agissons ensemble pour le mieux-être des aînés. So let's act together for the well-being of elderlies. And that will be presented this year in Montreal and Quebec. So if you guys would be interested in participating, we really more so want to include the Anglo community in that walk as well in Montreal and Quebec. And today, what we want to do, and this is where Louis is going to be presenting you, is that as Marie-France said, the first version of the Interforum, les Interforums, the Interforums were presented in 2022, and they were presented in 5 different regions of Quebec. Montréal, Capitale-Nationale, Lanaudière, Montérégie et Centre du Québec. And now we're implementing a second cohort, so cohort number 2 of the Interforums that we want to put forward right in the beginning of the fall, so the second week of September. We have recruited so far 2 of the 7 milieux engagés that we are looking for. We just started implementing all of this, but we very much so started working on this 2-3 weeks ago. And today, so Luis Segovia is responsible for the organizing and scheduling and finding all the partners necessary to the presentations of the Interforum. So I give the space to Luis so that he can present the Interforums to you. And as Marie-France expressed, like what we're looking for is elderlies and citizens to participate in the Interforums, but as will Luis do, is see if any of your organizations or organisms would be interested in becoming a milieu engagé to present one of the Interforum in your community. So there you go. You can go, Luis.
Okay. Thank you, Francois. So I'm just going to share my PowerPoint with all of you. As Francois stated, it's in French so far, but we're trying to have our latest version to in English, and it will be available by the beginning of next week if you guys wanted to share it with your community too. Can everyone see the screen? Sure, great.
Yes.
So as Francois explained before, the call to action that we give to the senior community that will participate in the Interforum is how can we become change actors in the community? How can we become influencers to our community? And what we've done in that is that the challenge that we have for the elderly senior citizens and also their healthcare helpers is that we're having the priorities that are always in the health, leisure, security, financing, and also living. So what we're trying to do with the Mouvement Habitat is we're trying to put new meanings for the senior community to take the lead in creating projects. What we mean by that is we're not going to end up with a project presented to them and said, this is a new project we would like to offer to you guys. It's something that we want you guys to start from the beginning with us, discussing about what's the need that needs to be done or that needs to be accommodated to your community, what is the English-speaking community, the French community, whether it's in the West Island or another region in Quebec. So we wanted to start from the beginning with the senior citizens. The objectives of the Mouvement HABITAT, as Francois stipulated before, is we always start with one question: how do we like to live our older years? And by living, we don't only mean physical, we also mean emotionally, psychologically, and leisurely. How, as citizens, I would like to inhabitate our later years. So that's why we want to have them as influencers that can be shown that they can still change what's going on in the community, because we stand on the fact that most of the community from the senior citizen are still active. It's just that they sometimes shy away from letting their mind known or expressing themselves. And in the Mouvement HABITAT, that's what we're going to do, is trying to include them to be influencers in that process, and also to show up what the senior citizens can make and can evolve and can create within their own community when we're giving them their space and we're giving them the time to do it as a team. So what are the Interforums? As Francois already explained a little bit, but it's a co-construction space where we want it to be led by senior citizens, and we're always going to be repeating that because the way the Interforums groups are made from 12 to 15 persons that we want in majority to be senior citizens. We're always welcoming other citizens that are 60 years and less, but we wanted to know that our quota is going to be in majority senior citizens so that we can always leave them that space to communicate, to express themselves. That's where something we differ from a consultation table, that there's not going to be representatives from organizations that are going to be working in the Interforums. The organizations that work with senior citizens are going to be partners to that Interforum participants in order to create or in order to accompany them in the project that we like to put in place. So far, so good? So what we're asking them, to the participants in the Interforums, to participate in minimum of 7 activities in which we'll go from the egg stage to a living embryo stage, that they can go and be ready to attach themselves to another entrepreneurial partner that we have in the region. So whichever the West Island, or I know that Nova has an English community in Montérégie too. So we're gonna always have those partners to help them out after that to grow up even more in their project. The type of project I'm going to explain to you later, but there's no gauge in the type of project. It's going to be a project that is going to be answering to the need that the Interforum that's going to be created are going to target. So it can be either from putting benches from a point A to a point B in order to help them be more mobile, to be more autonomous. It can be a social discussion coffee. It can be something else that the senior citizens said, when you need this in our region and we would like to work on it on our own, or we would like to own it with a partner that Mille will present to us later on. There's no profile for the seniors that are going to be participating in the forum, because we want everyone to be able to be interested and to be curious about how can they become social influences as senior citizens. While they're participating in the Interforums, they can have 4 different roles. They can be explorers. So they don't know what they're going to be doing that, but they're interested into it, and they're going to say, you know what? It's 7 meetings. I want to participate in that. Let's get onto it. They can be collaborators. Say, you know what? I have a little bit of experience in that field. I can maybe help out with the project we're starting to build towards our need, but I'm not an expert, but I can do what I can do best. There's going to be allies. There's something that have more experience on the field and have contacts that, you know what? I can do that, but I don't see myself as a leader or as a project lead manager on this type of activity. And there's always senior citizens that can, well, you know what? I think this is a great opportunity for me to show what I can do with my peers from the West Islands or from Montérégie, and how can lead this project to something that's going to be even more mature in the following months and years. When I say following months and years, is as you have said before, there's no gauge of the type of project that can come out of the Interforums. What we want the participants to know is that not all the projects are going to take the same time. Let's say someone says, well, you know what, we're 12 senior citizens, we're working on having a cooperation residence. We're going to explain to them it can be done. We're going to present you to a partner that can help you out, but it's not something that's going to be done in months or weeks. It's going to take years, and you have to be aware that you're going into it on a marathon and not on a sprint project like that. When someone else can say, well, you know what we want is 2-3 benches from point A from B. That also that with the urban programs on different cities that can be done. It may be months, or depending on how they're going to be accompanied and how they're willing to go and at what rhythm they're willing to go into that project. So what we're asking to the participants is, like I said before, for them to be curious, for them to be interested to participate, for them to participate in the minimum of 7 classes that we're going to give them, because we're going to coach them in the beginning to how to prepare themselves, how to prepare their need, how to prepare their project, and also do some homework that they're going to be doing out of between those meetings. It comes in a total of minimum of 36 to 40 hours for the participants that are going to be into the Interforum habitat. So far, so good. Do you have any questions that we can ask? Okay, so we're going to keep going. So as you can see, these are some of the participants from the first cohort from 2023, Francois, I believe. Thank you. So, and what's the role of Un for Mille within the Interforum? Well, as we said before, we're going to be animating the classes with the coaches. We're going to be developing the tools that are going to be needed. So right now we're going with the great start with the English community. So we know we're going to have to adapt all our tools into English community. So that's something that we're going to be doing. We're also going to be offering the coaching and the participation that the participants need in the meetings, but also out of the meetings. They have questions, they have troubles. If they need something else to be more enthusiastic or be more prominent, we're going to help them out with that. We're going to also put them in relations with partners from the ecosystem of the region in order to know, well, at this point of your project, we're going to present you to a new partner that's going to help you out along the way. Because for Mille, we're not going to be accompanying them in every type of project they're going to have. We're going to accompany them to make sure that they're not alone. But how we accompany them is by presenting them to different partners. Like in Montreal, we have an organization that's called Mille, helps them with urban projects in Montreal and other cities. So we're going to present the participants that have that type of project to them. We're also working with all other communities teams like the consultation tables, but also the social geriatrics teams from the Fondation H. And what For Mille does is make sure that they're still stimulated, enthusiastic, and curious towards the whole process. Because some of them are going to be like explorers in the beginning. They're going to say, well, you know, it's something that interests me. I don't know what's going to happen to it, but I want to go into it. So I was going to be honest with them, transparent with them, to say when what you're talking about or need or project, it can be done. It has this range of difficulty. If you're willing to put the work, we're going to be behind you and right next to you to help you out. But as we said in the beginning, you guys have to be the leaders of the project. So the 7 classes that we have, and then I was going to be involved depending on the needs of the region, but basically it's why am I here? What am I trying to find by participating to this project? Also, what is the need or the challenge that happens in my region that we want to work on it or that we don't think it's adapted to us? What exists already on the region? That's why, because what we don't want to happen is for a group of citizens to go into a project that already an organization is working on it. So we want them to see, is there someone already in the West Island or in Monterrey that's already working on it? If yes, can you work with them, or is it different from what you guys want to do? So that's why we have to make them sure that there's already something done or that hasn't been done. And what are the opportunities that exist already in the region as partners? If we haven't found them, how can For Mille help us find them? And what does a first victory mean? And by first victories, like as we said before, Francois, is to make them social influencers. So it's not about making a cooperation residence in 1 year or 2 years. That's going to be at the biggest victory. But the first victory might be, you know what? I entered this project of 7 classes in the beginning. I didn't know what to happen, but I found myself that I can express my voice, and I can be heard, and I can also be a more active member of the society. Because the 6th question is, what's going to happen now and what's going to happen after? Some of the participants after the 7 class might say, you know what, I think I might be done with this, but I see myself, I can participate in the board meeting of a non-profit organization. I think I can participate as a benevolent in another participant that I've met throughout the Interforums of For Mille. And in the end, we have what we call a trampoline. What is that? Is a show off when we put all the regions, all the projects to present them to regional partners as Fondation Grace Dart, Fondation Mireille Lino Saputo, for as Fondation Ligue Mores, or other type of partners that can help them out with the financing of the project, depending of the size of the project you're trying to build, or they can help them out with, all right, let's set a plan match for the following years as how we can mature our project together. And as I said, it gives also an opportunity to go and see what else can be done in the community as a senior citizen. How can be there more productive, how can be more active too. And as we said before, we're not doing that together as an informal, we're doing it with La Fondation H, but also we're working with Mangrove and Fos Fresh, which is one of our partners that help us find different entrepreneurial partners in the ecosystem of the region. And what's more important for us, as I said, is the experience that the participant is going to be having during those 7 classes, how they see themselves as either like an explorer, an ally, a collaborator, or a project leader, and to see how they can evolve after that in their borough, in their community, in their city. So as Francois said, what we're looking for, of course, are participants for the Interforums, but we're also looking for organizations that said, you know what, I want to be an engaged community in the Interforum. And what we're asking for them towards the Interforums to say, well, you know what, by hosting an Interforum, I am willing to have the participants coming into our organization, having a good time to meet with them themselves, to help them help with Zoom meetings, team meetings, help them to see how they can be productive and stimulated, and also be shown as a leader in the community, as an engaged community leader. So basically what we're saying is that the engaged communities, they're participating in the recruiting, they're also participating in helping them know the other organizations that are known, because we know organizations from many regions as the social geriatric teams, as the sorry, I don't know how to say it in English, les pôles d'économie sociale, table de concertation, but there's always other meetings that we haven't met yet that we're going to be meeting towards the Interforum, but that some of you that are already in place in the regions know already. Say, you know what, this organization, they might not be able to help in the recruitment, but they might be able to help with this type of project if your Interforum is going towards that way, if that's the need they're going to be working. So what's we're in, as I said, it's facilitating having access to a local, so we're trying to have the meetings this year in a hybrid form, so physically and also in virtually participation. So far, that's what we're looking for today, the recruitment for the meetings and also the recruitment for the engaged communities. Francois, is there something you want to add?
Yeah, well, thank you, Luis, for the presentation. I want to let you know that these Interforums of Cohort 2, we are recruiting now, and the 7 meetings will happen starting from the week of September 13th to mid-December 24. And we are supported by the CADA program from the Secretariat for Elderlies of the Health Minister. So we are able to implement these Interforums in your community in a more so self-sustained way. And the contributions that Luis explained to you of finding an engaged community that says, okay, as an organism, I'm ready to say, okay, I commit to present an Interforum starting in September in my community. Then I help you guys, Un et Informel, to find the people to participate, find other organizations that would be interested in helping us finding these people. And then the meetings will start happening in September, and we will give you all the tools necessary to, in English and in French, to go and get the participants to be involved in the Interforum. And our goal in the fall is to be in 7 different milieux. So we aim for either a quartier of, like a neighborhood of Montreal, an arrondissement, or another town, one of the arrondissements or around the island of Montreal. And then we also have just recently negotiated with Ville Saint-Laurent, which is part of Montreal, the greater area of Montreal. And we also will be involved with Sherbrooke dans la région de l'Estrie. Do you have any questions for us?
François, maybe it would be good for you guys to give some examples of what the Interforums have done elsewhere, and then maybe we could see what our community partners are thinking right now also.
Absolutely. Well, in the 5 different regions that we were involved in, I can give you 3 examples of projects that are more so have been experienced, implemented, and reproduced. And let me know if you were thinking of those specific projects, Luis, and if you have other in mind. But there is a specific project in La Naudière, which was created by Diane, and she has decided to create a Café des Aînés. So basically, she found the mayor, she found, le curé du village, and she said, okay, can I use the basement of the church, and can I have elderlies come over every 2 weeks, every week? I don't exactly remember the format, but it's been going on now for 2 years, more so that it's been now. She will be a counselor for 2 other little towns of the Nanoudière, so that they create their Café des Aînés in their own small villages. There's another project in Quebec City, which is a larger scale project. They wanted to work on an eco-friendly, intergenerational neighborhood where elderlies can live there, but be supported by other generations in a fashion that's more so ecological. Of course, as you can imagine, that project is going to evolve through time. As Luis said, we might be thinking over 8 to 10 to 12 years to see a project like that happen. But because of the stimulation that these people, these elderlies from Quebec City got, now they're affiliated with another group that has been working with the same kind of ideas of creating in that neighborhood. So they join forces, and now that group of the Interforum de la Capitale Nationale is now working with those younger generations to create their project. And another project that was very, very concrete and that has been somehow stopped in its way is that in Montérégie, they noticed that the service of drivers that help seniors to go to their health, appointments, or go to see a play or something, is very efficient, is very high in demand, but it's very unstable because, comment on dit bénévole? I forgot the word. Because
volunteer.
The volunteers, thank you. So the pool of volunteers is very unstable. Therefore, the service sometimes, even though it's in great demand, cannot be given to all the seniors. So the project was to work on making the pool of volunteers bigger and more stable. And that was supported by the Centre d'Action Bénévole de la Région. And the CIS ou CIUS was getting involved, and then there was a change of direction, and then it's kind of been on the back shelf for now, but it's a very concrete project that emerged from the process of les Interforums. Marie-France?
François, just pour savoir, this volunteer transportation, was it to bring people to medical and social appointments, or was it more
Social
one than the
only.
other?
It was for social appointments.
Yeah.
Social appointments, so grocery shopping, drugstore,
Exactly.
what have you.
Going to the leisure centers, also to the city's activities.
Okay.
And so you guys know, before we go to a period of your questions, that's why we've affiliated with what Luis presented as Mangrove Force Fraîche, is that what we noticed is that it's really important to have local partners supporting the Interforums, because they're the people knowing their community, but they're also the people that can help us make links with maybe the city or the CIS or the CIUS or le pôle d'économie sociale or other group of interested people that are not necessarily of elderlies, but that can support people that have projects. So that's why we joined forces with Force Fraîche, because we've noticed that it's one thing to have the idea, it's one thing to say, oh, I really want to be the porteur de projet for this project. But then when the moment becomes to do it and actually put it together, these people need help. And it's not our mission do so. So that's why now David Gobet-Kaufman, which is from the Force Fraîche, is affiliated to the project to make sure that those people that would have an idea could find the right people to support them and make the project happen and grow and maybe reproduce like we discovered with the project from Diane. You guys have any questions? So while we were very clear, Luis. Well, so at this point, what I can tell you is that we would be interested to see if some of you would be interested in being one of those, what we call en français le milieu engagé, to say, oh, in this community of ours in the West Island, or we would be interested in creating one of those and supporting the presentation of one of those interforums. You don't have to answer this question right now, but for sure, what we could do, Louise and Marie-France, Louise could write you an email. If you agree to this, we could get the list from you guys and see if you would need maybe another meeting or talk furthermore to Louise. So I see now that there are questions, so we'll go to that. But before we go to the questions, would it be agreeable to you all that we communicate with you directly, that Louise communicates with you? Yes? Okay, thank you. Kate?
Yes, hi. Thanks for your
Hi.
presentation. It was very
It's a pleasure.
clear. It was very
Well,
clear.
thank you. That's the goal.
Yeah. I mean, I have a history of community organization, so it sounds like a fabulous, opportunity. I'm the president of the board of directors of Villebois Repair, which is a nonprofit 50 unit apartment building in Beaconsfield. And we have 50 plus semi-autonomous, autonomous seniors living there. We have a dining room, which we host different events in addition to one meal a day being served in the dining room. And so I was just going to offer, upon confirmation with my board, which I'm having a meeting this afternoon, if you're looking for a place, a venue to carry out the Interforum discussions, this could be one place. I'm assuming that you would be looking for multiple locations and multiple groups. Is that correct?
Well, of course, because now, right now, to answer your question directly, we are looking for multiple places because we're presenting some in the fall, but we're also are committing to presenting some in the end of winter, spring of 25. So of course we appreciate and love your offer actually. So we can maybe have another chat to see and see how we can format that with you. But that's a great offer for sure.
Because it's to benefit my seniors that are living in the building. They're not great on exiting the building to go to events. So if the event can come to them, then I'll get some more participation from the seniors in my building.
Perfect. That's great.
That's actually what we're looking for, to offer to the living organization to have a new activity for the residents like that. And the way you're looking at it, something that also in Saint Laurent and in Sherbrooke have seen it that way too. Right.
Okay. And I mean, my work so that's my volunteer work, Villebois Repair, but I'm also a private social worker, and I have a group of, I have a company of lodging consultants for seniors to help them to find a private residence. So I have really good contacts with all the residences in the West Island. So I'm sure that, if you wanted to have it in another location, in a private residence, I'm talking about private for-profit residence, because the Villebois Repair is non-profit, there might be an opportunity to using one of their spaces too. So
okay, that's great.
I know space is hard to find. That's why I'm offering it.
Absolutely, for sure, for sure. Thank you so much, Kate.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Marc-André?
That's a wonderful offer, Kate. Definitely, I think it's super relevant and it fits the project. I was just wondering, and maybe my question is more for the other person on the call. How about like the DDO Singers Club, the Club des Aînés de Pierrefonds, and organizations like that? Is there any reason why they're not on this call? Have they been invited to the meeting, or because I think it would be relevant for them too to especially if Francois and Luis are looking for 7 or 8 different organizations to come up with projects. I think they would be interesting organization. Maybe the cities as well. No Point Claire as a service, Kirkland, Beaconsfield, and DDO as well have more intensive activities with their seniors. So I was wondering why aren't they on the call?
Marc-André, we actually invited all the membership from la table de concertation des aînés de l'Ouest de l'île, which has about 40 members. It's a bad time of the year with all the AGMs, and I think people did not want to commit. Now, yesterday, we were told that MADA, the municipalité Amie des aînés de Saint-Anne-de-Bellevue, was supposed to be on the call. He did not show up. He didn't email. Kathleen Finn from Point Claire for Seniors was supposed to be on the call, and she just emailed me a few minutes ago and said there was an issue with her schedule. So unfortunately, people did not show up that were supposed to be there, and Louise and I sent the invitation at large.
Okay.
But
okay, that's perfect.
To answer to you, Marc-André, it's not a lost cause, because as François said, we're trying to implement the Interforums in one region, but in order also to make them go every year annually. So far, we've been doing the Cohort 1, Cohort 2, because of the finance that François said from CADA. We have to choose different regions, but what we like to implement is that we can have it every year in every region. So our goal is a little bit like how the social geriatrics teams are growing up, to we have it in place and then have it in other regions. So if it doesn't happen with Pierrefonds or those other communities this year, we're still talking about 2025 too. So and as François said, we're meeting with the table de concertation in September. So I know it's going to be a late for the Cohort 2024, but we're still going to be able to plant seeds for 2025. So that's the way we see it in the Mouvement Habitat, also with the Interforums and also with the walls for the senior citizens.
Awesome.
And before I go, I'd like to hear Denise.
But I was just going to push on actually what just Louis said. Is just that the September meeting for the seniors table is going to have, like Marie-France says, we're 45 people on the table. All representatives of the municipalities are there. So even if they're not present, they will receive the minutes and the information about the presenters. I think it's a great opportunity to speak to more people. And I think the good thing about the West Island organizations is that we're not one borough or one city. We take care of the entire West Island. So I cannot speak for the table, but we have done in the past organized activities in the West Island for seniors. We just did it on June 15th for the Day Against Elder Abuse. So it could be a possibility of the seniors table organizing something, as long as we have space. Space, like everybody says, is hard to find, and then accumulate the whole West Island into this project by being able to get pockets here and there.
And I think that you're understanding, I think all of you understand that we long term we are looking to present in more than one milieu. But even for if in the fall we were to present it once or twice in 2 different cities of the West Island per se, in a very strong fashion, that we have great success, that we get to know more about the Mouvement Habitat, the Citizens Walk that's going to happen on October 1st, the presentation in September. So if we could talk about, we are presenting right now in the West Island, and we intend to present in the spring, winter and spring of 25, that would be a great success for us. Like with the question that what's the first victory? The first great victory for us would be to have one presentation in the West Island that we have great success with, or 2, and then we can build on that and include more people. And you understand
I think it's very much possible, because the September meeting, the next one's in November. So at the September meeting, I'm sure that they've already gotten the information from Louise and Marie-France about this, and they are aware of it. One thing for city groups, they're all finished. They closed all last week. Their last week of events was last week. They closed for the summer. So maybe that's another reason why the Carrefour de Pierrefonds couldn't be present, and the group from Dollard as well, because their last day was last Friday. They had their farewell luncheon and whatever. So to them, they're like not. It's not they're not listening to what's going on, but they're on summertime. They're on summertime right now. So but again, I think it would be a great opportunity at the September meeting to really push this forward and continue. And by opening the door to you guys, Francois and Louis, I think it's also an opportunity to communicate with the different groups through the seniors table.
Mm-hmm. And even before September, like as I said before, we've recorded our presentation on June 11 that was in French, and we're recording this one that's in English. So if any of your partners say, oh, you know what, I'm interested about it, can I have more information? They can always call me. In the for Mille page, you have my email address, so I can always talk to them, discuss them, even visit them if necessary. But they can always watch the recordings too. I'm gonna give the last question to Kate, because we know we scheduled 45 minutes, so we don't want to go over your lunchtime, guys. I want to give also after 2 minutes to Kate, Jackie, and give 2 minutes for Francois to talk about the walks too. So, Kate, was that an old hand or?
We can't hear you, Kate.
Your mic is off.
Sorry, yeah, that was a new hand. Sorry, quickly, so Jackie can ask the question. I was just going to say that I agree with Denise that when you present at the table de consultation des aînés, it will be very, very helpful and it'll reach a lot of people. But getting them to understand with just an email, I basically took a leap of faith to come to this meeting. I had no idea what the email was talking about. So
well, we're happy you did.
I'm just saying that if you were to email the members again, like if Denise was to forward it to the members, maybe a little bit more explanation to sort of entice them to come to the meeting, and also to whatever. It's just that maybe just a little bit more explanation, because it sounded interesting, but I just couldn't wrap my head around exactly what it was. So it's very simple. I understand it now, but just going forward. That's all I have to say. Sorry.
Thank you for the comment. I just wrote it down. I'm going to work on that.
Jackie?
Hi, thank you. I won't take much of your time either, but thank you for your presentation. I guess I'm going to reiterate what Kate said. I wasn't quite clear, but it was intriguing and so nice to hear your ideas. The wheels start, going in motion when you talk about some of the great projects that you're in the process of doing. And I think, as Kate mentioned too, I think it would be interesting if you sent out an email and maybe explain some of the possible ideas and the projects that are going on, or some ideas. It will maybe entice people to take part, but also maybe create help us to create some thinking of or think of other ideas that might be needed in our communities. Again, I'm a owner of a private home care company. I do have an office, depending on how big your forums are. If you ever need to have meetings, I also have a space here that I could provide, even if you want to do smaller type meetings as well, in the evenings or weekends or whatever it may be, there is a space here available also. So thank you. It was very interesting and nice to meet you all.
Thank you, Jackie. Comment on your comments and the ones from Kate and Denise. We do have in our YouTube channel the videos from last year Trampoline, where the different ranges were presenting their projects. In the following email, as we spoke, I can put a link of one or two of those projects like Francois presented, so you can see how the participants presented themselves in the project. It's going to be in French, but it's still going to be something from the start. That would be a good for the following emails. All right. So Francois, I'm going to leave you, if there's already no other questions or comments, let you talk about the walks, because that's also something that we're starting to work.
So 2 things. So leap of faith are my favorite thing in the world. So I'm very happy that I'm an artist, so I take leap of faith all the time. So I'm I'm very happy that you did, and we for sure take all your notes about how we communicate about the projects and stuff. So it will be implemented for sure. What is needed from this project beyond the space is, and you can talk amongst yourself and you can think about it or be in touch with Luis, is we need one organization to say, okay, we can lead this, we can help you find citizens and bring them to Kate or Jackie's place to work together and be, hosted by Un for Mille. So if that's something that's possible for you, that would be much appreciated for the presentations of the fall. And the last thing, as Luis said, is that on October 1st, we are presenting the 4th edition of the walk, Let's Act Together for the Well-Being of Elderlies. That's going to happen on Tuesday, October 1st. And we really want to have a contingent of Anglophones. Because, as you well know, if we speak French, if we speak English, we are all aging and we need help and we need to have support and we need to have, an opportunity, because that's really what the walk is. It's not a walk where people say, we need more money. It's a walk where we actually say we are people that are working every day of our lives to make the lives of elderlies better. And we want to give you an opportunity to put some light on the actions that you're putting into the world. So that's our invitation for the walk that's going to happen on October 1st. Our partners, Louise and Marie-France, will help, of course, relay information about that in the future after everybody's on holiday. So starting in August, there will be like a major communication, program to get how to register and how you can participate and mobilize people to participate. The walk is not in the West Island. There could be one. I'm not against that. But the walk is happening right in the center of Montreal, starting at the mountain. We have our offices there. Denise, she says no. I don't know what you're saying no to, but I'm telling you that the walk.
It's hard to
mute,
mobilize
Denise.
seniors in the West Island. It's even harder to bring our seniors downtown. That's
Yes,
all I'm
but
saying.
we're offering the walk. We gathered 700 people last year. Our goal is to bring that amount to 1,000 people. And as you might know, the more people we get in Montreal and now in Quebec, it's just a way to get a lot of attention around, those topics. And so all the events that you can have in a smaller scale in your neighborhoods and stuff like that are great as well. But we really want to invite the most people we can to participate in that greater walk. So that's going to be October 1st, starting at 10 o'clock in Montreal and Quebec City.
We are aware, with the comment that Denise said, we are aware that it is a challenge to mobilize people to go downtown, but that is why we're talking to all of our partners as early as now, because we want to discuss with our partners that are willing to go, say, how can we help you to mobilize more people? So I know that when we discussed already with our mobilization committee that transport is going to be one challenge, that's going to be something that it's going to have to appease the mind of the senior citizens that want to go to downtown. They don't want to bring their own car. They don't want to go on bus, on train. So how can we help that? On June 26th, and I put in the chat the link so you can participate in that discussion. So how we're starting to prepare our ambassador skills as we speak it. So it's going to include material for recruitment in French and English that we're already preparing, but also want to see what are the challenges and what other tools we can provide, or what other techniques or strategies you can put in place so we can help you guys mobilize more people to our walk in Montreal. So it's as Francois said in the beginning, the Interforums and the walks are evolving processes. So as much information as we gather from you guys that we can help mobilize more senior citizens, the bigger it's going to get year after year. Marc-André?
It's probably way too late for this year, but COVID taught us something about decentralized events. Have you ever thought of organizing several simultaneous walks here and there? Because I can totally see people from the West Island gathering in the Centennial Park in DDO and have a walk around the lake. That would be like fantastic. And maybe having like a giant screen somewhere and see people from one place to the other walking at the same time, having a vox pop or something like that could be like very fun and much more accessible to elderly people.
And I think as you just vas-y, Louis.
No, vas-y.
As you described, Marc-André, like that could be an evolution of the walk,
Mm-hmm.
you know, like as the more we gather in a bigger group and then like satellite events that are happening. But the idea is well taken into account, because that, again, you know, the notion of mobilizing people that don't walk that much, that don't move, that don't want to go out at all of their buildings. So yeah, for sure. It's going to evolve and it's going to grow. So, well, we're way beyond our time for today. So thank you for your attendance today. And thank you for your ideas and your sharings. Louis will be in touch with you guys to make sure that you have all the information needed. And it will also be a pleasure to hear if, you know, your offers of Jackie and Kate to gather people in your buildings and space would be much appreciated. So we'll be in touch with you.
And if you ever have any questions, don't hesitate to contact me by email. And in all my emails, there's a cell phone number. It's the community organization I work for, that cell phone number, so it's available 7 days per week. So once again, thank you for being with us today. Have a nice day.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you so
Bye.
much.
Merci
Bye.
beaucoup.